So let's dig into that a little bit. What were some of the predisposed thoughts you had about the veterans or military people that did not make them an easy choice that they are today because they've proven themselves out?
So
What's that?
so the biggest reason Bill didn't come on our radar screen in the very beginning was he didn't have the experience on the resume that we were very particularly looking for as our operations expanded. And we went through literally our first round, a very comprehensive approach. HR does all the initial screening. We do a lot of interviews. Uh, our strategy is a four-person team broken up in the two people groups, and they're physically meeting with a number of folks locally, face to face, in kind of a robust structure for us to make sure we're getting the right folks. At the end of that first round, there was some debate on the team, and from my experience, you never ever want to miss an opportunity of making sure you're bringing the right person on your team for the long-term benefit of the organization. While we had a really specific short-term need for supply chain, it was that long-term vision that I was really staying fixed on. And I was on the side of we were not going to get that perfect fit from that first round poll. And because we had done a really comprehensive scanning and posting on LinkedIn and a bunch of advertising and the initial screening of the resumes, I felt a little bit defeated at the beginning. The power of networking and maybe a little bit of blessing kind of came through, and our chief financial officer had relayed to me Bill Holmes's resume. And it wasn't part of the initial group, probably because it didn't check off all the buzzword boxes that we had originally on the supply chain screening. And I scheduled a call because there were so many things linked to he was putting up his performance metrics on I improved from X to Y and a number of different things on his resume. That's a critical ingredient for me because those invite a story. How did you do that? What kind of challenges did you have to overcome? And we had our first conversation. I scheduled a face-to-face with him, and the rest of it was we don't even need to talk to anybody else in a second full round because we had kind of found the guy. Now, while Bill did not have all of the experience in supply chain that we would have ideally wanted in the beginning, remember how I said in the beginning that I came to Seal Shield and dabbled around with supply chain here and kind of grew my experience in supply chain, having come with lean and operations. Seal Shield had really supported me with that in benchmarking and going to educational conferences and essentially any class, and it really, really worked out for me in the organization. So I already know we could repeat that process with Bill. I didn't have the benefit of a mentor, so I knew that I could help mentor him on those tactical experience needs, while it's really harder to find that kind of training, leadership, interpersonal skills, the culture that we want to have within a leadership person in the organization. And those are just almost impossible to train versus the tactical skill sets. And Bill being a quick study and having a lot of similar experiences in the military, just not commercialized to the business, it made it a really good hybrid to the point where he's better at a lot of things here than I ever was when I was over the supply chain.
So two things I'd like to draw out of your story that you shared there. Two things. One about the hiring manager and one about the veteran.
Mm-hmm.
Starting with the hiring manager, what thought processes do they need to adopt to consider these hidden gems, these hidden diamonds that just aren't obvious? How would they find them or ask better questions to draw out those resumes, be it a veteran or anyone else who may have not the exact experience, but the right type of character you need for that improvement and that long-term growth? And then the next question will be that veteran, which I'll get to after you answer this question.
Okay, so the first one is, like I had said in the beginning, what am I trying to accomplish? The short-term need is a supply chain owner, somebody that can own the supply chain that I was taking care of at that point in time. And as our organization was growing, there was just a lot more work, and it needed to have a dedicated mind share on it. But the longer term goal is, as we are growing the organization, every department usually has a little bit different ways of doing things. And our a backstory in our company is operations was not highly performing in Seal Shield before my arrival. And we had already fixed a number of those problems and had established a lot of credibility and influence across the organization, like documenting action plans, having simple things like just showing up on meetings on time, prepared. The agendas are in place; they're not running over, and having that mentality of we are going to do what we say we're going to do, and that requires a high level of discipline that folks from the military are already going to have. So when you want to have a winning organization, not just a few winning departments, you need to have those success stories that give credibility to get the organization on board in learning and adopting some of the same methodologies. It's really just sharing the best practices. So if you can bring somebody in who has those attributes, whatever they are, all right, for me, I was looking for discipline, the capability of taking the hill, a can-do mentality, because we are going to deal with challenges, especially as the organization grows. And I don't want that fear factor or change resistance to stand in the way of us taking chances, working hard, and making the effort, and then getting the wins, ideally. All right. If we can do that, and you have more voices on the department side that can do that, they will cascade that can-do attitude and mentality to others throughout the organization, not just within their own department. That's the soft stuff. That is the hard stuff to find in a lot of folks in business. And that's what we were going for when we were making that hiring decision. More of the longer term play. How do we get the leadership influence that can truly evolve in the organization, but also evolve the organization along a better way of doing things than we had done things before?